guys, and welcome back for another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a not quilted super quick quilt project. So this is an adorable little hot pad or hot plate or trivet or whatever you want to call it. This was made out of a panel, but there is absolutely no binding. You do not need to be a quilter to be able to make this super cute little project that you can put on your Thanksgiving table or your holiday table this coming season. So if you've ever been at the fabric store and you've seen fabric that was like this, that was like a picture, this is called a panel. And you can get these in so many different sizes. I got these in a little size, which I thought was perfect for a little hot plate. But of course you can get it in so many other sizes. So I'm going to show you in this tutorial how to make this. But then it's also going to show you how to make a placemat. It's also a wall hanging. There's so many options. But you don't need to know how to quilt. So all you're going to need is a cute little panel. It doesn't have to be a panel. It can just be a beautiful piece of fabric, and then a backing fabric, which I made with this super cute Christmassy fabric. So let's go through all the things that you're going to need for this project. Okay, let's go over what we need to make this little trivet. So I have this super cute panel that I purchased, and it has these adorable little squares that have different designs on them. So I'm going to be making mine a small trivet, just enough for like a bowl or a pot. And I'm just going to choose one, which I cut out. We need our backing fabric and our binding. Because we're not binding it, our backing is going to act as our binding. So if you don't like it, then I would choose another fabric, because you are going to see this on the front and it's going to border around your design. So I'm going to be using this super cute fabric. It has sparkles and little snowflakes on it. Now for the inside you can use batting, but if you are using it as a hot pad, I would recommend using something like this. This one is sort of like an insole bright, so you can put it in between the layers of your fabric, and then it'll kind of reflect the heat off of the table so that it doesn't go down into the table and it just goes back up. So I'll leave a link for Insole Bright down in the description box if you want to get something like that. If you're just using it to put on the table as a decoration, you can just use regular quilt batting as well. So the measurements are pretty simple. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to cut your piece of fabric that is going to be the focal point of the thing that you're making. So if you're making a trivet, this is 6 3/4. That's also with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then I'm going to add 3 inches onto that. Now because this is a smaller project, I'm only going to be adding 3 inches. So it's going to give me a cute little border. If you're making a placemat or a wall hanging, you might want to add 4 inches or 6 inches. That'll just change how big the binding looks on the piece. So this 6 3/4, we're going to cut out 9 3/4. Okay, so as you can see, it is going to be larger than the main piece of fabric that will be on the front of our trivet. I'm going to go over and get my iron so that I can flatten my fabric and make it look beautiful. Okay, we're just going to give our fabric a good press. Okay, so now our pieces are pressed and beautiful. And you're going to want to have your iron close by so that you can press when we are finished. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to find the center points of our large square. So you can take that and you can fold that in half. And I'm using a friction pen, and I'm just going to mark that. The friction pen actually will disappear with heat. So once we are ready to iron, all those markings will disappear. And then we're going to take it and we're going to fold it in half the opposite way. Just like that. So now we have 4 corners or 4 notches. Then we're going to take the little square and we're going to do the exact same thing. You can make this project with rectangles also. I know we're using squares in this one, but okay, so now we have all of those markings. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece and you're going to place it on top, and we're going to move it up to the top notch, and we're going to line up our notches. We're going to take a clip and we're going to clip that, and you can clip it a few times. Now we're going to spin it, and we are going to bring it down, and again align the side notch with the side of the fabric. Now if you wanted to do this, do one side sew, do the next side sew, you can do that as well, but we are just going to do it this way. So we're going to take the bottom notch and line it up with the bottom, and making sure everything is nice and even. And then the last one, now it's going to be a little crazy in the corners. So what you're going to do as you're sewing is you're going to stop 1/4 of an inch before you get to the end of your smaller square. So that's how it's going to look. Now if you want to use your pen, you can just kind of notch it or draw on it that when you stop, you're going to stop at this mark here, and when we sew the next side, you're also going to stop at the same corner, and that's going to allow the fabric to lay nice and flat. And you can do that at each side. You're doing 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, so you need to end 1/4 of an inch from the end. So now we can sew all 4 sides. When we're doing it, we are going to be leaving a little gap on one of the sides, doesn't matter which one. I tend to do it at the bottom of my image, that will be used for flipping it right size out. Okay, now we're going to start where we made that little dot, and we're doing 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and we'll go all the way down. And make sure that corner fabric is out of the way and you're only sewing 2 layers of fabric. And when you get to that other dot, you're just going to backstitch and then take it out. And now we're going to do the next one. So the next one is you're going to start where those last stitches ended. Flip it, And then we're going to do the last one, but we're going to leave a gap for turning. And then we'll leave that little gap there. Moving up. Okay, so we have a hole for turning. So now we're just going to go ahead and miter our corners. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay down one of the corners nice and flat. And it should look like this. And then you're going to get your ruler. And you're going to line up one of these horizontal lines with that triangle. So as you can see, it's lining up. And then we're going to take our pen and draw a mark or line from the corner down to the folded edge of that triangle. And that's where we're going to sew to miter that corner. So we're just going to, again, kind of lay that corner flat. I like to have the corner or the fold towards me. Just kind of helps me remember. And then the same thing, we're going to line up the edge of the ruler with that dot. And then that line is going to line up with the fold. This is why I really like the friction pen, because these markings will disappear once it's ironed. Okay. Take the next one. We are coming at it from the other side here, but that shouldn't matter. We're only going to be sewing on this. We're not going to be sewing on this or this. And then the next one. If you do it from this side, then you have more of the fabric to be able to line up your ruler, so you might like doing it from this side better. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and sew all those four corners. Okay, so I'm just folding my fabric in half so that I can get access to that corner better, and we're just going to sew right across that. And we'll do it to all four corners. Okay, so from here we're going to cut off the excess fabric, cut it down to 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then we're going to flip it right sides out using that hole that we left for turning. Okay, we're going to need our iron, so I'm just making that close by, and I'm going to use a bone folder to poke out the corners, and you can already see how stunning that border is looking. Now the only thing that I say about this project is when you're doing it, just try to be as precise as possible, because that will really make or break a project like this. You know, if your miter isn't perfect, then it won't look beautiful and even on all four corners. Oh my goodness. So as you can see, that's how much you're gonna get if you did a 3-inch additional to that measurement. If you want a little bigger, you know, you could do 4 inches. You can really experiment with it. Now, as you can see, the hole that we left for turning is in the middle. Okay, and that's actually perfect, because what you're going to do is you're going to take this fabric and you're just going to push it in, and then you're going to just fold that one neatly so it aligns with the rest of that seam. And we're going to do top stitching on that so that it looks virtually undetectable. Now the only thing we're going to do now is we're going to insert our insole bright. And I wanted to wait till this step to see how big my trivet piece was going to be, because to be honest, I didn't know. So I'm going to measure. This is 7.5. Okay, so we're just going to cut it a hair under 7.5, and then we're going to insert it on the inside of that hole. Okay, so now you're going to take your batting, and I'm just going to kind of fold it maybe in 3s, and then I will insert it inside, and then we'll try to unfold it when it's in there. And when we do that top stitching, it will stop that from like rolling around. And if you wanted to get a little crazy and do some actual quilting, then it'll just stop that from really rolling around. So that's why I like to have a decent hold to be able to do this. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. And now we just want to very, very carefully sew that, oh dear, sew that down so that it doesn't look like it's actually there. You can do a square and then call it a day. If you have more design on your fabric, you could follow those. You can do whatever you want, but that's what I'm going to do to finish this off, and I think it's going to be super cute. And making a little set of these for a friend, or having it adorn your Thanksgiving table or your Christmas table, I think is going to be so cute. Okay, let's begin sewing. This would be called quilting, actually, so if you're not a quilter, this is the act of quilting. I'm just going to go up to the miter, and then I'm going to lift and turn. Now, I'm not liking the way that this is looking, so we're going to get our, we're going to put on our walking foot. Okay, I went ahead and picked my threads, and now we're going to try again and see the difference with our walking foot. I absolutely love this project. It's such a good little beginner project if you're just getting into quilting. This is going to be great to put on all of your holiday tables or as gifts this holiday season for teacher gifts. So many options. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. You give it a try. If you do, of course, let me know. Follow me over on my social media. I would love to see it. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down below in the comments, and any information regarding all the materials and things that I like to use will be located in the description box. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye guys.